Hey, guess what? It's Friday night, creative night. Here I am again, crafting with Kim. I'm Kim Hostetter, and tonight I've got a lot going on, and I've got something really cool to share with you guys. We're going to take this leaf right off my vine, and I'm going to show you how to turn it into something really cool and artsy, but almost also functional. So it's going to be a functional piece of art. So stay tuned, and I'm going to get going. Okie dokie, guys, and ladies and gents, and whoever's watching. Um, like I said, you can see here below that I've got my setup. Now you're going to have to excuse me because I've got aluminum foil down here on my table, and it's a bit of a glare with my lights going on. So as I start rolling out the clay, you'll kind of get the idea. I mean, it'll kind of cover up this glare a little bit, but I put this over here now to kind of see how glary it is. Anyway, like I said, thanks for hopping on. If you're watching me live, you're going to watch the replay. Like I said, once again, just make sure that you know that I'm crafting with Kim, and I am actually live streaming from YouTube, my YouTube page, my Facebook Crafting with Kim, and the Creative Creative Soul Journey group. I honestly, I'm sorry, Mary, I always mess that name up for some reason. But yeah, it's the group of ladies. Actually, I can say it correct here. Give me a second. It is the Painted Soul Creative Journey. Get it, Kim? All right. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and dive into this because I really have a lot going on my table, and we got a lot of steps involved with this, but it's going to be super cool. All right, so as you're coming on, I appreciate if you would throw me up some comments. And obviously, if you have any questions, if you've never worked with clay before, I am going to give you a little bit of information about clay and the different types. And also just a little FYI, at some point, I am planning on starting up a clay membership. Just hint, hint. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff with clay. I love working with clay. Been putting it aside for a while, but I'm going to start working on it again. And I've got a lot of cool things that we can do with clay if anybody wants to play with clay and open up their realm of creativity. Anyway, let's get going. Okay, so let me switch this over a little bit because you don't need to see my face that much. You need to see more about what's going on here. And let's see if I can make this work. Come on, StreamYard. There we go. Okay, yeah. So like I said, I am live streaming from StreamYard. And if you look into the comments on the post I've put there, it does say that if you haven't already given permission to StreamYard to show the comments, you need to do that. Otherwise, when I'm seeing them come up on my comment screen, all I see is user, like Facebook user. It's a Facebook thing. They're trying to have a lot of controls. So just go ahead and click on that link and get yourself hooked up with that, and then I'll be able to interact with you. Hey, Mary, how you doing? Okay, cool. I'm so glad you're here. I knew you'd be here. You're like old faithful. All right, so let's get going. Like I said, clay. This clay that I'm working with tonight is Sculpey clay. A lot of people probably heard of it. It is a plastine-based or plastic-based clay. There's different versions of it. I'm actually using the baked version, and I'll show you what it looks like if you've never ever seen Sculpey or seen the box. It's right here. Oh, there we go. See, that's the box. I got baking, so I don't get confused because I actually have the baking, and I have the air dry, and both of them work absolutely fine with this. The baking, of course, is if you're too impatient for it to dry on its own, which could take up to 24 to 48 hours sometimes, you can bake it. But I've got a little hint for you. You can actually bake the air dry clay too. And just FYI, it's a little less expensive than the baked version. So whichever, use the Sculpey. But it is nice because it's very pliable. Which means it's really soft to work with. However, when you're working with clay in the beginning, you can see these are called bricks. And of course, they come in different forms depending on what type of clay or mud you're using. But you want to make sure that you quote unquote condition it, which means that number one, the easy way, if you have a pasta maker, you can literally run it through there. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna try to go to the thrift store and see if I can find me a pasta maker so I can do that. But old-fashioned way is you can do it by hand, is kneading. Working with clay is very similar to like working with dough or fondant. You know, if everybody does a lot of the cool things with the fondant and the cakes and stuff. So, but let me go ahead and show you what we're going to be doing here. Now, for this particular, I've already measured out pretty much the size of my leaf here. And so I've got my little board set up here. Now, so a couple of things you need to know about your setup here. Okay, you can see, like I said, I've got aluminum foil. I did this, well, number two, because I don't have my silicone baking mat right now. But we got a Facebook user. Okay, whoever just logged on there and said hello to me, please see the StreamYard link so you can click on, and so I can see who you are, and y'all get a name with the Facebook user. Hello. Hi, whoever you are. Okay, so like I said, I actually have a piece of glass underneath me because you can see my work surface is pretty messy and I've been painting and doing other things, but to give a nice smooth surface. So whenever you're working with clay, you do need to have a really smooth surface. And the reason I'm using, I didn't necessarily have to use this because I've got a smooth surface with the glass, but since I'm using the baking version, I need to actually transport it from here to a baking dish, so or pan, whatever. So it's easier to just have it on the aluminum here, and you can just lift it up, and I'll show you how we're going to do all that. But if you have a silicone baking mat, that's really the way to go, because you just pop it right on there, put it on your cookie sheet, throw it in the oven. Now, if you're air drying, of course, you don't need this. Like I said, you can just finish your piece and let it sit in your spot, or you can transport it somewhere else and then let it dry. You know, just just leave it alone and let it dry. Okay, anyway, so like I said, I've pretty much got it measured out. Now, the reason I've got it set up like here, you can see these are rulers on the side. It's kind of like the way to do this. There's a couple different things you can use. Rulers are good because or the wood, I'm going to show you this too. Excuse me, I'm reaching over here for a second. Where did I do my dowels? Oh, never mind. I put them over there. Oh, here's one. Okay. So you can use dowels too. Now, I found these at the Dollar Tree. It says, nothing happens when I click the link. Sorry. Hey, Lana. Hey, darling. I'm so glad you're here. Okay. So like I said, I found these at the Dollar Tree. Who the heck does not love the Dollar Tree? I mean, come on. I think all of us are like in love with the Dollar Tree. Anyway, you can use these. And actually the one that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be showing my sample. I use the dowels. However, I'm going to be using the rulers tonight. And the reason I've got it set up like this is because when we roll out this clay, this is kind of like your guide for the width that you're going to need of your clay. The dowel is actually a little bit thicker. You wouldn't see it, but you have to get close to it. You can see it's raised up a little bit more, so it gives you a little bit thicker thickness. But on this one, I can use the rulers, and it's going to be a little thinner, but it should work just fine. If you want a thicker, heavier one, obviously use something a little thicker. You don't need it to be super thick. Okay, once again, I'll stop babbling, but I just wanted you to know those things because those are the steps that you need to know when you start working with this stuff, as far as like getting it consistent with your thickness. Okay, so you do need to have a setup like this to be able to roll it out properly. Now, a couple ways. I only need half of this. You can use a wire. You know, this is one of those wire cutters. I probably can't see this in the thing. Yeah, there you go. Or, you know, you can use simple household things, you know, even a butter knife or just an old putty knife or something like this just to cut it. I got my wire handy, so I'm going to take about half of this, and I probably won't use the whole thing, but, you know, I just need that enough to where I'm not having to scramble around for the other. So I'm going to put this aside. Like I said, this is baking. This won't dry until you actually bake it, okay? Like I said, the air dry version here in my baggie, I keep it in there when you're not using it because eventually it does dry. So you want to make sure you keep that. And you can even put a little extra oil in there, you know, but we'll talk about that later. It's TMI right now. Okay. Let me get this all over here so I can have more space because I'm jammed up for space. I got so much going on. Now, here's a little quick tidbit, by the way. This is kind of cool. So, okay, you're setting up your board and say you're going to use aluminum foil because you don't have anything else around. But you take off your aluminum foil and it's pretty, beat up like this. You need to have a nice smooth surface. Well, look at this, guys. I'm going to show you a little trick. All right, I can probably do it right over this one. You can take your roller, or here you go. You got a, it's got a little clay on it already. Try to clean it up. By the way, clean up with Sculpey. You use baby wipes. Wipes right off. It's really good. All right, so anyway, this is from the Dollar Tree again, too. Simple little rolling pin. A acrylic one, like a plastic acrylic one, would be a little bit more durable because sometimes this gets knots if you really try to be super smooth. But this works for what we're doing here. Anyway, check this out. So you need a nice, smooth, clean surface. Here you go. You can simply roll this out. Roll your aluminum foil out and get it nice and smooth again. This is actually a pretty heavy-duty, non-stick aluminum foil. And I wanted it to be a little bit heavy because when I have to pick it up and transfer it, I don't want it to, rip on me. But anyway, see, isn't that cool? Look at that. It's nice and smooth. Just a little trick there. Okay, so let's get going because I need to get this clay conditioned and kneaded out. I'm probably going to end up standing up. I seem to do better with this when I stand up, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so anyway, I'm just kind of mushing it right now, and then I'm going to start kneading it. I'm going to stand up, guys, so you can see me a little bit better here. All right, like I said, you don't really need to see me that much. You need to kind of pay attention to what's going down below. But, okay, so you can see, you know what, this thing, I'm going to put this right here until we actually get going because it does glare quite a bit. All right, so you just kind of make like you're making biscuits. Anybody like to make biscuits or work with dough or bake or pies or whatever? I'd like to know, by the way, if anybody's ever worked with clay. I know, Lana, you are familiar with clay because you teach kids, you teach art at school, and you said you worked with clay a lot. Tell me some of the fun projects that you guys do that you teach with the kids with the clay. This is kind of coming up a little bit on me, but maybe because I need to tape it down on the other side, but we'll see how it goes. I'll just tape it down real quick if it doesn't keep coming up. Actually, I'm going to condition it off to the side here. That won't messing with my, because once I roll it out, I won't need this anymore. I mean, it won't move up on me anymore. So yeah, you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of folding it over. All right. Yeah, these, you can get a big old piece of glass, a glass window or something like that if you want. Ooh, I just heard it thunder. I don't know if anybody heard that in the microphone, but by the way, is everybody hearing me okay? Can you hear my music? Can you see what's going on? If I got any tech issues, let me know. Okay, so see, that didn't take too long. It only takes a few seconds to actually get it kind of pliable. This is really soft clay. There's a lot of clays that are harder to work with, but this one's pretty easy. All right, because it's nice, and that's why it's very user-friendly. And like I said, this is the original Sculpey. There's different types of Sculpey, and once again, I will get into that a little bit more as I start talking about more about my membership and get into details so you'll know what's going on. Anyway, so original Sculpey, firm or primo will work if you want to use it. Now, let's see if I can do this. Actually, this thing is starting to shift on me. We put another little piece of tape down here, kind of hold that down. So how's everybody doing Friday night? Everybody all right? Did you have a good week? Did you got anything cool planned for the weekend? I'm just TGIF. I've had a long week working and doing all kinds of stuff. So I'm very grateful to be back in my studio. I've missed it for a good week. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put some tape here just to be on safe side. Excuse me, guys. So this is, I thought this wasn't going to shift on me. And you see what I did? I just lifted up a little rulers here. Hopefully that'll stay. Now, we'll roll this out again, make sure it's nice and smooth. It doesn't have to be totally smooth because you can still do it with on your clay too, but it's just nice to start with a smooth surface if you can. Okay, here we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this out. I like to kind of knead it a little bit, or not knead it, but push it down with my hand first a little bit. And you can use one of two things. You can use this guy, this little hand roller. You don't have one of these. Like I said, I prefer, honestly, to use this. Number one is because it's the length of my width of my my rulers here, and you can get your proper width because it'll roll out evenly. And then also it's easier for me on my wrist to actually do this. I have a little bit of issue with arthritis in my wrist, so you know, old folks things start happening. So anyway, yeah, so you just have to kind of work this a little bit until you get it rolled out. Like I said, anybody's familiar with baking or doing fondant, you got this. You know what this is all about. Sometimes you will get air bubbles in there, and if you want, you can kind of poke them out, or they eventually come out when you're rolling it. Sometimes I turn it over too. Okay. Now, what's some of the other things you need to be aware of? So what we're trying to do is get it a pretty decent size, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be laying my leaf on top of here to get an impression, but I'm also going to be needing it big enough to put the bottom piece on, which I guess I need to show you guys exactly what we're going to be working on, since I did have a picture of it on the post, but I didn't actually show you what it's going to turn out like. So let me do that real quick. So, okay, anybody saw my post, you'll see that this is the one that I made as a sample. And this is actually taken, I took a leaf off my croton bush and created this little guy. And it has a little hanger on the back and whatnot. You know, just kind of, you can put succulents or whatever you want. These are just little, obviously artificial flowers to get an idea. But see that one, okay. And I also have this as an older version. This is something different. It's not a leaf impression, but it turned out pretty cool. I actually took I don't really remember what it was, but I just rolled that over the top of it, and that's something we can get into later. And it's good to have a little bit of foam in here, the floral foam, to push it down in if you want to do some artificial flowers or whatever. But anyway, this is another version of a wall pocket. Okay, so this is number 3 version, different version. All right, and that particular leaf, I have no idea. It's a vine. I want to call it a potato vine, but I don't really know if it is. I just know that it's a big honking leaf, and they're growing all over my fence. I've got an empty lot next door to my house, and there's all kinds of things and critters that come out of that lot. It's very overgrown. And I am a plant person. Anybody else a plant person? Anybody else like plants? I love plants. I used to work with plants, actually. Let me see. Is this going to fit? I don't know if I'm going to test this and see if I can get both things. So what I'm going to do, obviously, you can see here, is I'm going to press this down. I'm going to get an impression with the leaf. And I also need to make sure that I've got it big enough so that I can get the other half on there, which I don't think I do. Okay, I'm going to roll this over and kind of press this out a little bit more. There we go. All right. But see, you can't really see it per se, but what I'm trying to say, the rulers keep this from going past the width that I need, okay? Like it keeps the width consistent, especially if you keep your rolling pin like this and keep it on both sides. I think I might have enough now if I lay this out right, like this. And then I'm gonna need the other half. I better work it a little bit more. All right, guys. Well, like I said, I really appreciate you guys coming on. If you do come on later in the replay, or as I'm working tonight, I'd really appreciate it if you would give me some love and give me some shares. Oh, look at that thing pulled right up. Okay, ain't no thing. I got a big pizza going on here. All right. Sometimes when you execute a plan, it doesn't always work as you thought it did. It worked on me last night, but I had different tapes, actually. All right, it's okay. Let me see if I can tape that down again real quick. I'm actually going to be lifting this up, like I said, because I'll need to transport it. But for now, I'm going to leave it like this. Okay. And I don't really have to use this, but it makes it a little bit easier when you're picking it up because you could technically pick this up by holding it, but it just makes it a little bit cleaner when you're doing it this way. It doesn't disturb it as much, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right, so I think I'm going to go with that. I think I've got plenty. Yeah, I've got it good now. All right, so what we're going to do at this point is I'm going to take this little guy, actually. I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to, you want to, by the way, you need to do this down, leaf down, okay? Because see, that's where you get all your veins or your heavy veins from, and you're going to take a nice impression off of this. So I want to keep trying to keep it close to my edge. Now this is going to spread out on me a little bit, so I have to make sure I'm not having enough space, but okay, here we go. I love this leaf. I mean, it's the coolest leaf, and it looks like a heart. So, you know, I thought that was another really cool reason why I chose this one. The other one that I did with the crotons, you can see that I did it with 3 leaf. I actually took the same leaf, and I made 3 impressions of it. But this time I'm just going to use 1 leaf. But if you were to do more than 1 leaf, all you would do is take, like I'm doing here, rolling it out. Now you want to get a good roll on it too. You want to press into it pretty darn good. Okay, because you want it to get as deep as you can. Because the deeper you get it, the more your veins are going to show out and the better it's going to have an impression. So I just kind of put a really good roll on that sucker. And that little tip down there, I don't know if we can get the whole tip in. I didn't really put the whole tip on. I kind of created that at the end when I did it, hand built that a little bit. All right, so let's take a peek at it and see what happens. I'm going to just get a toothpick or something like the end of a sharp knife, and you can lift it up right here. Kind of see what's going on. You don't have to lift it up all the way. I know it's going to be very difficult for you guys to see that, but until I cut it. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. But I'm going to lay it back down and work it a little bit more just to make sure. As long as you don't lift it up all the way, you won't mess up your lines. It won't get out of the lines. Okay, so make sure I got it right good on the edges too, so I can see where I have to cut. So basically, I'm going to cut this clay away. All right, so I think I'm pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and throw that up. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's pretty. Of course, the thicker your veins are, or your stem veins or whatever, the better the impression is. Don't worry about any little idiosyncrasies of things coming up, because you'll be able to actually play with that and manipulate that and even sand it down if you want to once it's dry. Okay. I know it might be very hard to see that, but there actually is a leaf impression on here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this leaf impression out now. And you can use a couple things. Once again, if you have a really sharp pointed knife, you've got a little guy like this. There's all kinds of, actually for this, I would suggest not using the knife if you've got aluminum foil, because it's metal and it might actually rip your aluminum foil underneath. So I'm going to use this wooden pointy. Well, this is a type of a sculpting tool. I don't even know what it's called, but it's a type of sculpting tool. And I'm going to use this to cut it out. And basically all I'm doing is going around the outside of my leaf. Okay. And it might not be, it's pretty clean actually, using this guy. It does raise it a little bit, but we're going to be adding, we're going to be attaching the back to this too, so we'll be able to kind of press that down a little bit. All right, so you want to go around this area. I'm going to try, I might have to cut it in here a little bit. Take that out. One thing nice about this one, it has that little curved edge on it, so I can get around the curves. It is a little cleaner, so I'm going to go ahead and stick with this one after all. I'll just try not to cut into my aluminum too much. Okay, yeah, this is a little bit cleaner than using that wooden one. Okay, like I said, if you're popping on, please say, give me some comments. You see, we've got Stacy. I have played with it, covered with my light switch. Yeah, the light switches, they're really fun to do. Like I said, I've got so many things that I could, that I am planning on teaching within my membership group if anybody decides to join up there. Now, I'm just in the planning stages with it. So, you know, I'll let you know as I get further down the road because I got to work up all my idiosyncrasies, but I'm definitely something because I don't think there's that many people out there that work with clay too much. And it's just a neat medium because clay can actually be used in a lot of things. Even if you're a painter, you can incorporate clay into your artwork, into your paintings, little dimensional, add little ditties here and there for mixed media. It's really good for that. So there's lots of fun things you can do with clay. All right, so I've got my, I've got this cut out, and I'm going to take this away now. I need to keep this bottom section because I'm hoping I got enough space to actually put the backing on here. And if I don't, then I'll roll out a little bit with this other clay here that I'm pulling away and make a new one. All right. So like I said, even though, you know, it kind of pulled a little bit on the edges, that's not a big deal. All right, I'm going to go ahead and, actually, I do need to lift this up. I'm going to lift this up because I need to use it as my guide for my bottom. Now you can see I'm being pretty careful about it. Your impression's going to stay there even if you kind of touch it, but you want like a light hand on it, especially on there. Okay, so see, I've got my little clay guy here. And what I'm going to do is lay this on top of here. All right, and see if I've got enough to work with to make my backing. I think I do, especially if I go down to the very, very bottom there. So I've got a pretty straight line on the back. Okay, that's a little bit funky there, but I can fix that. One thing great about clay is kind of like paint. It's forgiving, especially acrylic paints, it's forgiving. So you can actually play with it and manipulate it and smooth it out if you make a mistake. And it's one good thing I love about it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here to get the back part, which is basically, like I said, you know, the back part here, you need something for your flowers or your plants or whatever to stay in. That one looks actually a little bit crooked. Yeah, it's a little crooked, but I'll fix it. So, okay, here we go. I'm just basically cutting around that. Anybody else hopping on there? What? Where's everybody at Friday night? Are they out hanging out? I know, Fridays. Fridays is not a day I would typically, I think I would come on live. But like I said, my work schedule's been a little bit crazy and I wanted to do something. I get the DTs if I don't get a chance to get on live and little teaching. So this is my only spot. But next week I'll be starting back on my usual Wednesday night live group, and then I'll be doing some stuff on this page as well with these girls and also on my own personal one. Okay, so there we go. So you can see I've got the back now. What I'm going to do is make this a little bit more even. So, I mean, it's the back. Honestly, if you're pretty, I would say if you're really, I don't want to use the word, if you're very particular, that's a good word to use, then you would want to, excuse me, just to get my face in the camera, make it a little bit cleaner and smoother. You can kind of cut it off there. All right, actually, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to trim that up a little bit, make it look a little cleaner. If you're not that concerned with the back, because honestly, you're hardly ever going to see the back once you get your flowers on and it's going to be hanging on the wall, then hey, don't sweat it. You know, it's okay if it's a little uneven. And like I said, if it's got a little bit of burrs on it, you can always use some sandpaper on it, lightweight sandpaper, and sand it down. All right. So that I got that right there. Okay. Like I said, it looks a little uneven, but actually the flower of the, not the flower. So here's the deal. This is organic. This is not man-made, so therefore you would look, it looks like it might be pretty even, but when I cut it, you can actually see it's a little uneven. Okay, so the plant itself is not exact, which I guess you really wouldn't expect it to if it's in nature. Okay, so I'm going to take these two and move them up. Now here's the thing, before I start assembling, because what we have to do now is we actually have to stick these two together, so to speak. Like I'm going to kind of pinch them together a little bit because we have to have the way for them to stay together when they dry. Okay, so what I'm going to do here before I do that, though, because it makes it a little bit easier, I'm going to put a little bit, here's the trick, like how to open it up and keep it, make it a pocket. You can use some just, aluminum foil again. You just kind of put it in there and place it in there. You want it to be pretty smooth. This one's a little bit wonky, but I think it'll be all right. And I'll probably add a few more pieces as I get it in there. But yeah, let me see. Take a little piece like that. Just kind of mesh it up like that. And you're going to stick it down in there. And you can actually leave this in there while you bake it, because it's aluminum foil and it bakes up real nice. Now, you don't want to take it all the way out to the edges because you need to have that space to be able to press down, okay? And we're going to end up cutting a little bit of this off too on the backing, as you see, because obviously when you're putting this down, it's going to raise up the top leaf design and make it so that it shrinks it down a little bit from the original back. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking at it, see how it looks. Okay, so there we go, like that. I'm going to put just a little bit of spray water on here. I don't really have to, but it just kind of, to me, maybe helps it stick a little bit better, although the best thing to do with this is oil. All right, so here I go. We're going to lay this on top. Don't mind how it looks right now. We're going to work it out. So what I like to do is just kind of press it on the sides. And you can use your fingers. You can actually use a little bit of a tool if you want to. There's all kinds of really cool tools. Clay tools that you can use. And a lot of household items you can use too. But clay tools are relatively inexpensive. So make sure I've got that even enough. Okay, so I'm just going along here and pressing it down. And I'm going to clean it up. So you can actually stretch it out a little bit too. Okay. Anybody else? Good night. People, where are you? Come on. Everybody show me some love. While you're looking, while you're looking at me, while you're watching this, and if you have any questions, of course, pipe in. But also, I'd appreciate if you would go down and there's a little share button if you're on Facebook, and it actually allows you to share it to your friends and family. And I do that a lot with other people. I really try to support a lot of the girls when they're teaching live, and I support it to my own page, and I let everybody know, what's going on, and tell them that this is somebody I know, and appreciate you guys checking them out. All right. So anyway, if you appreciate sharing that for me, I would appreciate it. I really would. Give me some lovins. I don't care what they say about that share word, if it works or not. Show me the sprinkles. I don't know. Sprinkle it. All right. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Cancel the share word. Yeah, I like the leaf pattern too. Like it says, isn't it cool, Lana? It looks like a darn heart. It's just the coolest shape. And that's why when I saw something, oh, I got to do this one. But granted, I'm losing a little bit of my design on the sides, but I don't care about that because I got to, press this down in here and get it so where it'll stay. And make sure that those get the top part too. All right. And you can use your tools to kind of clean it up. I love looking. It even feels good to work with clay. It feels good in your hands. It's like soft and therapeutic. It's definitely something besides grabbing a paintbrush and painting. Although I love that too now. Okay. All right. I'm trying to get that to look a little bit more even. Now, if a person wanted to, you can add a little extra tail on there. That original leaf had a funky little tail. So I think I might do something like cute like that. A little twirly curly. I don't know if you guys can see. I know it's so, I'm sorry guys. Next time I do this, I promise I'll have a baking sheet so you don't get this glare on here. But once I lift it up, you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Yeah, I didn't think about the fact that I'm glaring in the lights. Now, here's another little trick. All right, now I can sit down. Put the camera down a little bit. Okay, here's another little trick. So as I'm doing, you can see a little lump in there. Don't worry about the lump. I'm going to fix that. But as I worked around this clay, of course, I lost a little bit of my vein design. But what I can do is I can go back and kind of fake that in. You know, you can take a little skinny, like I said, an X-Acto knife would work really good for this. Something very small. Oh, Terry, about time you found me. Dang, girl. No, I'm just joking. I'm glad you're here. All right, so yeah, I can take that and you can just kind of create your own vein lines that you've sort of missed. And even if there's some up here that didn't get the impression as much as you want, you can go back and create them. So I'm just kind of faking out some of my veins real quick to make it look a little bit more on the side. Okay. Oops, that was a little bit crooked. All right, I'm just gonna. That's it. Okay. Now we're going to be painting this, so you know, painting it, you're gonna not see every single vein in there anyway, but it's still kind of cool to just add a little extra, kind of clean that up on the end. All right, so there we go. Now, I guess I got a little bump here because of the aluminum foil, but I'm not going to stress over that because you'll see why in a second. Okay. Okay, so I got my veins. Now, what I need to do is I need to lift this up a little bit more because it's got to be an open pocket. So I'm going to take some more aluminum foil and I'm going to lift it up. I might need to grab some more too, depending on how big this is. All right. Now you can see why you need to have a baking mat or something to work with this, because you need to be able to, once you get it all done, you don't want to move it too much. All right, I need a little bit more foil. This is a lot thinner foil. Ladies, I got to tell you, I'm under these lights and I'm sweating my patooties off. All right. Yep, it's hot in Florida. Still screaming hot. There's no share button on my end. Oh, there's no share button? That's interesting. Every time maybe it's only if you go on Facebook and not go through StreamYard, but I don't know if that's really the case either, because I always see a share button on the bottom of mine. I don't know. Well, that's okay. Maybe you guys will do me the favor and share it after I've posted. At least it's something, you know. Share the love. All right. So once again, what I'm doing is just trying to get this lifted up to the way you want it. Okay. Because like I said, you're going to be baking this in the position. So whatever position you want it, of course, you need to have it lifted up enough to where, and it's okay. It's kind of cool. I'm going to fix this little guy in here. Now that's something I could easily sand away, make it look a little smoother, but I'm just going to try. You want to have the pocket open enough to where you'll be able to get, you know, your plants and stuff inside once you do it. Okay. So, and I kind of wish I could pop it down in that space down there a little bit more. There we go. Now, if you want to manipulate your leaves so they stand, the one thing I'll tell you about Sculpey, this particular Sculpey, it's a softer Sculpey. If you get the firmer or the Primo Sculpey, it's harder and it will stay, like if you were to lift your leaf, it'll stay in place. But this one is a little bit more floppy, and I do have it a little bit on the thinner side, which is going to be fine once it's dry. But for now, I'm just going to try to, I have to kind of prop it up, so to speak, until it's dry. I kind of like the look of having one a little bit lower than the other, but I'm also concerned too about being able to get my plants in there once I do it. So I'm trying to lift that up a little bit. Okay, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it looks a lot worse in the camera than it does in person because I've got these little idiosyncrasies going on with the bumps and everything. But to tell you the truth, once it's dry, it actually looks cool. It looks pretty organic. So this is it for the actual piece. That wasn't too hard, was it? Yeah? Oh, because it's a private group, Mary's saying. Okay, Mary, I didn't realize that you couldn't share in a private group. Maybe that's why, because our live painting group is actually a public group, or yes, to the public. So maybe that's why. I don't know. I don't know Facebook stuff. I get so annoyed with them guys. But here we are, right? All right. So I don't need all that. I only need enough to where I can lift this sucker up and put it on my tray. All right. And I'm going to pray that this is going to go well and look like that. See, I just picked it right up just like that. All right. So now I've got my little cookie sheet here. And this thing is probably going to be, no, it actually fits. I think I'll probably end up transferring it into a regular cookie sheet before I bake it. But for now, I just kind of wanted to show you because I need a bigger sheet. That just is actually, this leaf is pretty big. I don't know, it might fit. Anyway, so like I said, you can manipulate your leaf and get your, if you want to even get your aluminum foil to look a little bit like less bumpy, you can make it smooth. You can manipulate a little bit. Okay, so anybody have any questions? Hey, Steffi. Hey, girlie. Anybody have any questions on this so far? If you do, just pipe up and I'll give you some questions. But anyway, I'm going to leave that. And then I'm actually going to start working with the one that I already made. What do us live creative teaching ladies do? Men, we actually have something already made as a sample. So because it takes about, by the way, let me tell you, on the baking Sculpey, it does have directions on the box, but it says you heat your oven to 250 and you put it in there for, depending on the thickness of it, I say for every 1/4 inch, you put it in there for 15 minutes. So even though this is about 1/4 inch, I would still probably put this in for about at least 20, 25 minutes because it's a bigger piece. It's not going to hurt it. I wouldn't go over that because you can actually burn it. But anyway, we're good like that. Let me see. Presenter magic. What's that? Okay, Stephanie, explain yourself, darling. Okay, so this is my one. Of course, it's hardened. Now, I will tell you, this was Sculpey, and this was actually air dry. Okay, I made this on Thursday, I think so, Thursday, Wednesday. And it was almost dry, but my studio I got a lot of moisture going on because I have like a she shed and I don't keep my AC on unless I'm here. So it wasn't quite dry. So today I put it in the oven and you can see actually on my pocket in the back, I pulled it away a little bit because I wanted to have a little bit more space. And it actually hangs. Oh, I forgot to do something, guys. Good thing I looked at this. Duh. Okay, I'm going to wing this right now. No, I got to take it out. Darn it, Kim. All right. It's a good thing I caught it because I get so involved in talking to you ladies that I forget what the heck I'm supposed to be doing. Now, you don't want to do what I just did because normally you would want to put your hole in. You need to have a hole. You need to have a hole in the back here to be able to put like a tack or a nail, and you're just going to hang it on the wall like this. Or you can get a little piece of twine or something like that and hang it up. But better if you have just an actual like nail or something, just poke it on. Okay, poke it on there like that. All right, so we have to create that. I have to create that hole. I'm going to pull this back. It's like doing a peel. Got a little facelift going on here. And I'm going to see if I can get in there. Basically, I'm just going to take a straw. And I'm going to take I need some scissors. Let me cut this down. I know I had some somewhere. Here we go. I'm just going to cut a little bit of this off. Okay. And I'm going to poke it right there. Make a hole. All right. Let's make a nice clean hole. And it actually usually lifts right up. Well, there's one thing good about when people do explain the poof next is done ahead of time. Okay, there we go. See, actually, if you use a straw, it'll come right out, and I've got a nice hole there. So now you get to see what happens if you make a mistake like I did. Okay, and don't get ahead of yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in here, fill it back up, set it back up, go through all that again after I had it nice and pretty. All right, I got a little small crack there, but once again, that's not a big deal either. You just smooth it out. All right, let me get these guys. Okay, ha, explain and poof. Oh, I got you. Presenter magic. Yep, that's a good word for it. It's like my, so is that your word you coined? Because remember I had the stickability word the other night. Okay, so I'm trying to fix this puppy dog. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and slide that back over here, and we're going to start working with this one. Okay, yeah, here it is. Presenter poof magic. You got it. All right, so like I was saying, hello, is that, let me get this in the camera. I keep moving my camera. That's what I'm doing. There we go. That's better. Sorry, ladies. All right, so yeah, like I said, this one's got the back on it. I pulled it away a little bit to get a little bit more open space. And then it also kind of makes it stick away from the wall. I tested it on the wall. It looks kind of cool where it sits. Okay, so get all my madness out of here, because now once we take it out of the oven, of course, it needs to cool down. And then it's ready to do whatever you want to with it. In this case, I'm going to paint it, okay? And I'm going to be using acrylic paints. I'm going to get my, by the way, Steph, you didn't see the beginning, but this is my leaf sample. My pretty little heart leaf. Isn't it cool? I don't know what these are called. It's like a big vine. If anybody knows that much about plants, and they can kind of pipe in and tell me what kind of, I thought it was a potato vine, but I'm not quite sure. Okay, anyway, so kind of clean up my space a little bit. Now that we're done with all the clay part, this is the part that all you painters will like, because you get to paint it any way you want. If we weren't doing a leaf or some other design, you could actually, you know, embellish it with different things. You can, you know, I don't know, just whatever you want to do with it, I guess. I'll just pull off the other side of my thing there. Okay. All right, guys. So paint. Now this, like I said, it looks a little bit funky. The camera creates these shadows in it. It makes it look kind of bumpily and rumply. But Monstera, oh, you know what? I don't think it quite is a Monstera, because I think the Monstera, isn't that the like the elephant leaf things? I know they have more like the little cuts in the side of them and things like that. But it's, yeah, it's obviously tropical because I'm here in Florida, and it's, like I said, it's growing all over the back of my my fence line. But and I think, like I said, the Monsteras, if I remember correctly, is more like those really large elephant leaves. But there's different kinds of them too. This one, they kind of have more like jagged cutouts, and they look a little bit more organic. I don't know, just a little bit more artistic, I guess, than the other ones. So anyway, what I was saying is this doesn't look as bad in person. I would say he's saying bad, but it doesn't look as bumpy and everything as it does here with the shadows. But once we get it painted, it's going to be just fine. So, here's my paint. Let me get my paint over here. Now, I was thinking, you know, since fall's coming up and everybody's kind of gauging towards the fall, I am not ready for fall. I mean, I don't mind fall. It's nice and cool, especially in Florida, lower humidity, but you don't get it that much cooler. But I was thinking that I could actually create this and maybe some fall colors. And I definitely want a little red in it because it looks like a heart. So let's see what we're going to do with our colors here. And now I'm using acrylics. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to water them down a little bit. What I want to do first is I'm actually doing a little bit of experiment here, but I think this is going to work pretty good because it's kind of like when you do distressing or whatnot. I'm going to paint a dark color over here anyway because I want to get my veins dark, and then I'm going to do like a little wash of colors on top. Of course, if it's acrylic and I don't like it, I can always paint over it. But we're going to kind of experiment a little bit together, ladies, to see what's going on. Monstera, yeah, they get pretty big. Yeah, these guys is probably about the big as these get. This is like the biggest leaf on that vine, Terry. So I don't think it's the Monstera. But and Monsteras really aren't a vine; they're more like an individual leaf. Oh, they do get huge though. All right. So what I'm doing here is I don't know how much I'm going to need. I'm going to water it down a little bit, so I don't want to overdo it with my paint. I've got my big 3/4 inch brush here. You can use any size brush you want, but I do want it to be a little bit watered down. Okay, so I'm just going to go in here and brush it on. Now you can get inside too, you know, if you want to. See how that magic happens? Isn't paint just magical? I mean, paint is just like, does so many things. Hides up boogers on in your house, and it just, oh my gosh. What we do without paint, ladies. What we do without paint. All right, so I'm definitely getting inside my veins because that's where I want my brown to be, a brown color. And if anybody's ever painted ceramics or clay, you know that this stuff is super porous and it dries up really fast. And it's very, very streaky looking. But of course, that's just a first coat. And I am watering it down on purpose like this. I don't want it, I want it more of a wash texture. I don't really want it to be a solid color quite yet. Because I'm going to try a couple different tones on here and see what happens. Okay, so I've got the front. Make sure I got all my veins. Anybody else out there? What's everybody doing now? Everybody eating dinner, hanging out, Friday night? One of the things I like to do on Friday nights, me and my baby doll, we like to go out and play pool. Sometimes we live in a very small little artsy college town, and they have some breweries. We don't really drink, but we do like to go to there and play pool. Anybody else like to play pool, or what's your go-to thing for the weekend? I know if you got kids, it's a little different, but you know, we're older and we don't have any of those children in the house anymore. All right, so I'm just going to basically do it like that for now. I don't think I'm going to paint the back brown because I'm going to do that probably in a green or something else, another color. And like I said, you know, if a person wants to, I think it is a good idea to go ahead and paint the inside just because it looks a little bit cleaner. So I guess I can do that with the brown. So yeah, this is kind of cool. Actually, terracotta, got to thinking terracotta would be really cool with this too. You can make it kind of like Mexican looking with the terracotta. Now, I hear it thundering and roaring out there. You guys probably can't hear it on your end, but and I'm getting out of the way here. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm getting caught up in what I'm doing. But I'm actually painting the inside of this. Okay, I'm going all the way in the side. I'm supposed to be showing you guys, and here I am, like involved in my own thing. Okay. Everybody's got to holler at me every once and say, "Hey, Kim, come on. We can't see what's going on, man." Give us some love. All right, so there we go. Now, like I said, it's like ceramics. It looks a little funky right now, but we're going to go ahead and add some other colors on it. I got a fingerprint in there. I'm going to turn it over. All right. We're going to leave it like that. Let it dry. Okay. So we got it sort of like that for now. Here comes the rain. This is the last thing I like to have when I do a live because I have a tin roof and it probably sounds like popcorn to you guys when the rain starts because it's pretty loud because I don't have an insulated roof. It's just a tin roof in my little she shed. Like the way the vein of the leaf is showing up. Yeah, they do. They pop out once you get the color on there. And like I said, I'm hoping that once I put the other colors on there, that's going to do so even more so. So, okay, now let me see. I want to do actually a little reference here. I kind of was at the dollar store today. I pulled out some references that I can do with my leaves. The heck, Kim? Hold up. Give me a second, ladies. I just tried to call the emergency hotline. I hope I don't get a call from the police. I just got on my phone and actually called the emergency hotline. I hope the police don't try to call me, wondering what's going on. Okay, let's see what else. I'm gonna look for my reference here. I'm sorry, ladies. Can you guys hear that crazy noise? Spent the day with my dad earlier for our birthdays. Bella turned 8 this Sunday, and later I'm wrapping her gifts. Aw, that's cool, Stephanie. Family time. I actually do miss having the kids sometimes, you know. I see my grandkids off, well, sort of often. I wish I could see them more. Okay, you ladies have to tell me, is this background noise like crazy loud? Does it sound like popcorn? Because it's pretty loud to me. And I want to make sure how loud it is. I'm going to keep going, but if I need to turn up my volume, I can do that. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and try to add extra colors here. I'm getting this crazy storm. Let's try to do a little bit of red. If it gets too bad, I can actually mute myself, and then you can just kind of watch. Maybe listen to the music. Crafting emergency, yeah, definitely crafting. Can't hear it, very little. Oh, good, Mary, because it sounds like a crazy torrential storm on my end. I'm just glad that you ladies can't hear it. Okay, I'm going to keep going then. All right, put a little green on here, some lime green and dark green. Okay, now I'm going to kind of wing this and see what I can get. So I'm just kind of mixing some colors together to sort of get like a fall tone. And let me see. I'm going to manipulate this with my fingers a little bit. I can get it the way I want it. I want to get it like an effect, like a turning leaf, like an autumn leaf that's turning. So like I said, I'll play with the colors a little bit and see what I can come up. It's kind of taking shape, looking pretty. Ladies, I know you can't see it. Let me hold it up a little bit. I'm doing really more of a dry brush at this point. I didn't really want to do a wash on it because I'm trying to keep those veins in there. Just a little bit of paint. So I've got like a lime green, a dark green. If I'm yelling, let me know. I'm trying to yell over myself. Can hear it sometimes, goes in and out. Yeah, it's like, I was told before that it sounded kind of like popcorn. So yeah, I've got a lime green, like a forest dark green, a little bit of azalean red, and some, and a little bit of yellow going on here. All right, that's starting to look pretty good. I wanted to lighten it up a little bit more. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow to it. Lighter up. I didn't want it quite that dark. See what we can come up with here. Yeah, it's starting to take shape. Colors do so much for it, for sure. Like I said, I'm just kind of using the side of my brush and doing more of a dry brush. That way, because I really don't want it to sink down in those veins too much. I want the veins to be able to stand out. Okay. Now, if I didn't go over, if I didn't start with my brown wash, I could have easily, painted this whatever, like a green color, and then, put my colors on top or whatever color you want. Then you could have kind of gone back in and done the veins that way. But I wanted to, try it this way because I think the veins look a little bit better when it's got that brown behind it instead of trying to paint in between them and whatnot. So, I mean, you can kind of just manipulate this any way you want until you get your colors. But like I said, I'm just kind of using the side of my brush, dry brushing it. So what do you guys think? I'm looking pretty cool. I told you once you got the paint on it, you wouldn't be able to see all those little lumps and stuff. They'll just kind of like they're part of the blowing in the wind leaf. All right, so now I'm going to do something with the side, just kind of fix those a little bit with some green. Keep taking it away from the camera. I'm sorry, ladies. All right. Like I said, at this point, you just kind of paint it any way you want. You could even do it some really funky, like bright colors, something really cool and bright. Okay, I'm kind of liking it like that. It's got that real fall, dark fall feel to it. Put a little bit more of this red over on this side. Okay, I think I'm going to kind of leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. Get it? Leaf? Leaf? All right. All right. I thought it was funny. Come on, somebody laugh. Looks like a real leaf? Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, I think it looks pretty. Believe me, it looks a lot better in person. These lights kind of look that shadow. But it's pretty neat. Yeah, the colors, I definitely want to go with the fall color, Stephanie. All right, so now I'm just going to turn it over and just kind of slap something on the back of it to make it look a little prettier. I said, you don't have to. You're not going to see much of that, but this I can actually use a little bit of wash, paint wash, just kind of get it to look a little bit more consistent, the front. And I'm going to paint the back too. I don't know what color should I paint the back. I could just paint it any old color, really. So this part's really not going to be seen that much. You don't even have to go all the way inside if you don't want to. Or if you want it to be really, really cool, say you're getting it as a gift or something, you might want to paint it all the way down. Okay. All right, now I do need to go inside and paint this guy in here, which I didn't do before. I said, forgive me, it's not like a canvas where I got it, sitting up. I got to actually look at it to be able to see it. So I'm having to pull it away from the camera. Sorry about that. Oh, yay, the rainstorm has passed, I think, at least unless we get another cloud coming over. I'm always like a little cringing when I look at the weather and say, oh gosh, it's going to be raining at such and such time and I got to go live because I know how loud it is on me. Crazy loud. All right. Once again, I'm just throwing some color on the back here. I'm not making it any particular thing, quite frankly. Depends on if you want it to be consistent, if you just want it to be whatever. This looks kind of like a kid did it, I guess, really. I'm a kid at heart. Okay. All right, guys. So that's about it. I can get my little hole there if I want to. All right. And of course, I need to let this dry. It doesn't take long to dry with ceramics. Oh, got a little thing on the top there. But you can go back and hit it. See, look at there. It was still wet, and I pulled some of that darn paint off of my fingers. So it's probably best not to do what I'm doing. I'm trying to go for the speed factor because of teaching you guys. But the best way to do this is, either paint your front or your back first and give it a chance for the paint to dry and then flip it over. And you can actually flip it over and put it on like a soft cloth or something and lay it down. And then you can paint your other side. That way it doesn't look, you won't pull the paint off like I just did. But other than that, I think it looks pretty darn cool. What do you guys think? She wants to join the Pina Clay Soul. Okay, now this is still wet, and I'm gonna, but I can always touch it up after we're done here. I thought it'd be kind of cool just to throw something in there. And these are really good, by the way. Oh, here's another tidbit about these little guys. Um, this is obviously clay. It's not clay, kiln file clay. It is baked clay. It's got some durability to it. As far as say you wanted to use this an actual planter, like to put real plants in, I think you can do that, but I would do more like succulents or like air plants or something like that. If you're going to put a live plant in there, something that doesn't require a lot of water. You can, as I did with this one, you can get a clear spray coat, which everybody knows what that is, but you can just I got a semi-gloss this time, clear coat, and you can put that on, spray that on the inside and on the back and everything to kind of protect it from the weather. But ideally, it's more for like an undercover situation or an inside, like wall hanging for something kind of decorative in your house. So the two that I showed you, I have just the artificial flowers in. And I found these, and I thought these were kind of pretty. I don't know how they're going to fit once I get it in there, but, you know, these are just some little kind of a fall cottonwood sort of thing. So you can see how you can kind of decorate it up. Because I'm not doing a very good job of showing it. I'll have to take a picture of it, make it look better. But you get the idea. I mean, you can just put whatever you want in there, but I would get something that's got some height to it. That'll, you know, because this is such a big piece, but isn't that just the prettiest little heart leaf? I love it. I absolutely love it. Those colors, you know what? Yeah. And I was actually concerned about the colors because I'm like, well, you know, and technically I can make it lighter. I might even go back and add a little bit more green on it and lighten it up a little bit. But these colors are pretty cool too. They look very fallish. And these are really cool gifts, by the way. Okay, think about this. These are big, great gifts. You could actually, which I encourage people to do, is put your initials on the back. Yeah, you could actually, you know, take a little scribe and put your initials on the back or put a little saying in there or whatever you want to do. But that is it. That is pretty much it. Anybody think that they could actually make one of these now after watching me? I mean, if you've never played with clay, let me know. Or if you have played with clay and not made one of these, do you think that this was a hard thing to do? If it's not hard, then I guess I did my job. There's a few things to know about clay, but we'll get into that down the road. Like I said, when I get my clay membership going, and we'll do a lot of really cool things when we do the clay. Not that this isn't cool, but okay, ladies, I'm about done. And if there's no more questions, I really appreciate you guys once again. I would really love it. I'm going to switch over now, if you guys don't mind. Let's see if I got my thing right. No, I need to go this way. Switch over. Okay, and I'm going to go this way. I would really love it if you ladies would do me a favor and go to my YouTube page. I do stream. When I stream on StreamYard, I stream on my YouTube page. And it's fairly new. I'm trying to build it up, so I really appreciate some love over there. Subscribe and hit the notification button. And also, I forgot to do this, like a dodo head. One thing I came up with tonight, which I was going to do, I can do it now, is to have this banner running through my tutorial. I saw Christy do this and I stole her little idea, but I've got myself set up with a little text service where if you text me at the 800, it's 81010. You can see it on the bottom there. If you can see that, you text that, take that number and text it and put in @Crafty. You can see KRAFTI. Then you'll get on my text notification list. And when I go live, you'll be able to get a text message on that, which I know a lot of people are doing these days. It's something new I'm trying out. And to me, I'm a big texter, so I see text every time they come in. I'm like, who's that? So, yeah, I would appreciate that. Just text me. And then also get on my YouTube or Facebook, of course. That's a standard, but I appreciate some YouTube love as well. All right, ladies, I love you all. Let's see, I've got another comment here before I close out. Lana, thank you. Thank you guys for coming on. Terry, Lana, Steffi, whoever wants to join on our group next week, we're going to have a blast. I'm telling you, that's something really, really cool going on. All right, ladies, have a good weekend. Lots of love. TGI Friday, all that good stuff. Bye.